days, we will let Miss Gabriella say how she feel about the situation. Then I will come in, and then after that, we will accept your calls. If you would like to speak, it's 347-996-3350, and make sure you press the number 1. All right, Miss Gabriella, it's your time. What you think about it? Why playing the victim is counterproductive to progress, Miss Gabriella?
I think that playing the victim is counterproductive to progress because maybe it's just the way that I was raised. And maybe the way a lot of old school people were raised, but we were raised to say that if I do something and something bad happens, no matter what decision I make or whatever I do in my life, if I made that choice and something bad comes out of it, I have to live with it. Let's say, for example, if I was to go out and go sleep with everybody in the neighborhood and I ended up pregnant, I'm not going to sit there and blame the man and say, oh, the man, he should have stood by me and he should be there for me and this, that, and the third. Or if I was poor and there was a situation where, someone came up to me and said, hey, you can make, I don't know if you've seen that show Locked Up Abroad, where people will come up to you from out of the country and say, hey, you want to make $10,000 on a weekend? Just come with me and all you got to do is just drop this package off and then come back and you'll be fine. I'm not going to do stuff like that. Yes, money is nice, but I'm not going to sit there and risk being in some international prison for 10 years because I want to make, because I want the $10,000 in a weekend. Or, anything. There's situations that can happen anytime, anywhere. But I feel like at the end of the day, everything that you do is personal responsibility. I don't care if, yes, things are a little bit harder for us black Americans. I'm not going to say this not. Racism does exist. We are not in a post-racial society, and we will never be in a post-racial society. Because when you put different groups of people that don't look like each other together, there's always going to be some type of friction. It happens. That's just how people are. And I knew that coming into this world, I am black and I'm a woman. Those are two things. That's almost like being born with two stripes against you. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that, woe is me. I just know that I have to work probably about 3-4 times harder than any other woman because things aren't just going to be handed to me like that. That's just the way that things are. But I'm not going to sit there and say that because the odds are kind of stacked against me that I'm just going to fail. No. I'm not going to fail and get on the system and have a bunch of kids and be living on welfare and then sit there and say, oh, it was the white man, it's the white man's fault. No, this is all personal responsibility. I know that, just like I said, I know that coming into this world, things are going to be hard, so you've got to work hard. Point blank, period. And if you want to say that I'm a coon and a house Negro and a handkerchief head and whatever else you want to call me, then I'll be a coon. If having personal responsibility and working hard and realizing that crime is not the answer and is being a coon, then fine. That's what I am.
Miss Gabriella?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you are a coon. All right. Now,
cool,
let me start picking up where you left off about that. I have done plenty of videos. I have went hard in the paint to expose the hypocrisy within the media, how they make a difference with black people in their reporting, how they don't show everybody doing wrong. They only show certain groups doing certain things, and they want to cover others. Now, when I'm pointing out those racists as getting away with stuff, or pointing out that, hey, we all the same, don't act like you're just so different and you're so much better. Oh, you're applauding those videos. I'm talking about some black folks. You're applauding those videos. And the moment I said, okay, let's go ahead and start talking about the deep-rooted issues within the black community. Let's talk about what's really is the thing that's holding black people back from really making progress to become better, to fix our situation. All of a sudden, when you start putting this in people's face, all of a sudden when, you down for the people and you're a good brother and you all this stuff that you were saying. Now, all of a sudden, we, because Ms. Gabriella included, I am a coon and she's a coonette. That's just what you have labeled us. Because we said that we do not blame 100% what thugs do to innocent people on racism, white supremacy, etc. I posted, 2 videos yesterday of one little girl who was going to sell Girl Scout cookies and she was shot by a thug. I posted another video of a barber working hard for his family, and another barber was killed, several people was wounded by thugs. And you still try to give excuse. You still try to give cover to the thugs. You say that we are victims and all this other stuff. I don't play the victim. I understand racism exists. I come from an area where it's highly racist. When I went to school, the black people sat on one side of the cafeteria and the white folks sat on the other side of the cafeteria, and the two did not cross. The only time it crossed is when somebody from the other side was dating somebody from the other side. That's usually how it goes. And half the time it would be the white people that would come over to the black side when this happened. Nobody said that we were segregated, but that's the way it was done. I ain't remember in our school they even had at one point in time it even got bad like race fights in my school. Okay, so I understand all about racism 100%. I understand as a black male I'm gonna have it harder. I'm profiled because I'm a black man, especially a dark-skinned black male. I know I'm gonna deal with colorism within my own community. I was ridiculed a lot from within my community due to colorism and things like that. But after all that, it does not give me the excuse to play the victim and take victimization to say I cannot make something for myself because I'm black. I can't make something of myself because I grew up poor. I can't make something of myself because I just didn't get the proper lot in life. I'm sorry, that just did not work. And any person I know that have done that, it holds them back. They can't progress nowhere. I have a family member who has been in a perpetual victimization of themselves for years. I've talked to them over and over and over again, and yet they still will not get out of the victimization that they're in inside their mind. And it's so tough to talk to somebody who feel they are a victim to something, and you see that, look, all you have to do is just do this and you'll be okay. And they will not do it because they view themselves as a victim. Somebody needs to help me. Somebody feels sorry for me. And when you're in that state, you can't progress to bigger and better things. I understand some of the things that we deal with, especially as black people in this country. It's not easy. I understand about stereotype. I understand about the looks. I understand how we can be first fired and last hire. I understand this stuff 100%. And you can look through my video library and see how much I understand it, and see I have posted these stories time and time and time again. But at the end of the day, racism is going to exist due to the fact that is a sin of the heart. As long as people are teaching small children to hate people of the different races, then you're going to have racism. And what government entity could really govern the issues of the heart? So that is the problem. But when it comes to us, or even in your personal life, you can't take the role of playing the victim and expect to progress. All of us been through some stuff that's traumatizing. You can go through a bad relationship. I went through a marriage. I worked my best in that marriage. I worked hard. I bought a home in a decent place. I paid cars off. There's all this stuff, and it still failed. I did everything right, and the wrong thing happened. I could have lived in that victimization stage that I was in just for a short time, feeling sorry for myself. I could have had the victimization in my mind about how women are and how women could be. But I learned and said to myself, I'm sorry. Life had to continue. I have to get over it. I have to stop feeling sorry for myself and move on. And if I would not have done that, we wouldn't even have this conversation, because I was nowhere near the point I'm at now, even with what I do online. What I speak is something that I had to live. Some of you get upset when you say, when you hear, certain things being said, and you say, well, they are racist talking points. There's a difference between when I say it and when a racist say it. When a racist is telling it to you, they using probably some sort of fact with it, but they there's the spirit behind it, and the spirit is shut up, Negro, because we don't want to hear what you got to say, because we don't want you talking about the racism that we do to you. When I say it, I'm using a fact also because I care about you, and I do not want you to continue in the progress that you are doing right now, which is about much of nothing. A lot of things that we do in the black community is complete insanity, and most people know insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And unfortunately, in the black community, we constantly circling that hamster wheel all day, thinking we're going to get somewhere by doing that. There's a lot of insanity going on in the community, and playing victim and saying all the time white supremacy and racism and all this other stuff. It's not going to help you build that economic base that you crave so much. Playing the victim and saying something about white supremacy and racism 24/7 is not going to bring us into a greater era. It's not going to do that. We have to say, okay, we know this exists, and we'll deal with that. But let's go on and just look at what we got going on and build that in spite of. Because there's too many people within the history of black Americans who've moved past it. People who's, as I stated before, people who's actually slaves. They were slaves. And yet they still went on to do great things, build schools, got highly educated, did inventions, did all kind of special things within the military, all things that people who were actual slaves. And people went through the Jim Crow era, all the civil rights struggle, and he still did something great. So this is the thing. We can't play the victim no longer. This is not about, I know some of you saying, he's playing to his white fan base. You're stupid. I put my videos out there for what they are. And I believe in what's right, and I'm against what's wrong. And on that notion, I can care less what color you are. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And the reason why some black people will never make it, and I say some, not all, is because you want to think that you are a victim 24/7. And there are people who are race pimping to you and always going to feed you that and manipulate you and to make you feel that, you know, you're just so downtrodden when you are some of the most courageous people on the earth. I tell people, we survived slavery. Then why you think we can't get past this stuff? We don't even have the man on our neck like we used to. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time, the Ku Klux Klan would show up at any moment to bomb a church, bomb a house, drag a black man out on the middle of the lawn, beat him up, hang him, burning crosses, all this stuff. We don't even live that anymore. But yet, we still want to give excuse. We have things constantly going down within our community. We only have now 19 banks, black-owned banks now. Black banks are closing. Media companies for black people are at an all-time low, according to the FCC. We're going to constantly keep blaming racism. See, we get upset when we don't see programming that shows what we like things to be, but yet we're not trying to get involved with those aspects. That's why I try to support many people within the media format, like the brother you seen on the video, Steve Williams, you know, he's brother from Houston. And, you know, I like what he got going on. Me and him, you know, working together on some things because I want to help other brothers grow their formats in the media realm, at least if I can believe in you like that. So, you know, I definitely push more and more African Americans to get involved in the media side. We not all rappers, and we not all just a doggone entertainer. I mean, we can do a bunch of stuff outside of what's the norm for black people. But we cannot do this constantly feeling sorry for ourselves and saying that we are a victim. And even if you're not black and you may be victimizing yourself based on, you know, I had poor parents. They didn't do much for me. They treated me like crap. I was abused. I was molested. I was raped. Unfortunately, that's some horrible things a lot of people have dealt with in this country. But at the end of the day, you have to get past it, whether it's through prayer, counseling, both, or whatever you have to do to get past it, because you cannot live your life as a perpetual victim. And when you do things, you cannot say, if you're an alcoholic, well, my grandfather's an alcoholic, and, well, my great-grandfather and my mama and all these other people, when you get stopped by the police for DUI. You can't do that. You're responsible for what you do, and you cannot say because of them and how you grew up, you know, you shifted away from what you have done. I know it had an effect on you, don't get me wrong, it has. But you can't live that for the rest of your life. So if you choose to play the victim, don't get mad at other people who will move on and progress wherever part they are in their life. Because many people have some horrible stories in their life, but yet they've moved past it.